Hello, everyone, and I'm back. Back in the good old US of A, something like that. So, I recently came across a channel called Millennial Stream, and there's several other channels that the algorithm, in all of its infinite wisdom, has thought I'd like. So, a lot of it has to revolve around, I wouldn't say doomer content, but the phenomenon of quote unquote no one wants to work anymore. So I decided, hey, I might as well give my take on this because I'm actually one of the men, the estimated 7 million on the low end. The real number is probably more like 17 million. 7 million American men who are prime age, 24 to 54, I think, and aren't working nor looking for work. That's me to a T. I'm 27, and I have no intentions of ever going on the workforce again. Why that is? Well, I'll be honest, I just don't see the fucking point. If I'm never gonna marry, I'm never gonna have kids, I'm never gonna own a home, I'm probably never gonna be, I'll barely able to afford rent. I have my government handout, and that's, leaves me with just, basic hand to mouth stuff as is. I'd be even more hand to mouth if I was working. If I'm not going to own anything of substance, what's the point? What's the point? For me, what's the point? Because, I went to college, and for God's sakes, I wanted to be an EMT. I went to fucking med school. I didn't expect my life to end up the way it is now. And yet here I am. So I don't know. That's my take on it. That's my take on why no one wants to work anywhere, because there's no reason to. There's no reason to. There was a time in this country where, you could go get a job and then you would eventually become a homeowner. Now that is no longer a guarantee that I am going to marry, have kids, and have the life I wanted to have, if there's no more guarantee of, hey, I can achieve my childhood dream of becoming a doctor, what's the point? What's the point? It's the same thing too. It's the same thing too with the draft. A lot of Gen Z, and depending on where you draw the line, I might be either the oldest of Gen Z or the youngest of millennial. But depending on where you draw the line, Gen Z by and large doesn't like the idea of a draft. If honestly, I see America, bringing back the draft for private jobs before we ever bring back the draft for the military. It's that unpopular. The U.S. is not ready. If they brought back the draft, I would leave the country on principle. I'd be on the next flight to Cambodia or something. I'd be making some kind of living over there. I would just immigrate at that point. As for me, as for the future, I'm going to be honest. In recent months, I don't know if my head's not screwed on straight, but I haven't really been that optimistic about the future. I genuinely do not see the United States as it exists now existing in the next 7 years. I don't think America, this current quote-unquote status quo, is going to exist by 2030, 2033 at the latest. I don't see it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But the problem is if this status quo continues, we're going to see more homeless people. We're going to see more debt. We're going to see more destruction. We're going to see more violence. It's going to be like it's going to be like Brazil, more or less. It'll be Brazil with both more homeless people and more guns. I hate to say that, but it's true. If the status quo continues as it is now in the next 10 years, I will either be under a bridge or under the dirt. I hate to make it sound that bleak, but that's my genuine take on the future. In the next 10 years, America won't exist, I won't exist, or my housing situation won't exist, and I'm sleeping in an abandoned building that I broke into or something. That's my opinion. Now, I could be wrong, and I hope that I'm wrong. I genuinely hope that, someone, some charismatic and, genuinely benevolent leader pops up in 2028, but good luck with that shit. And as for the election, because it's an election year, everyone's talking on the election, I personally don't see a Donald Trump victory. I don't. Even if I was still on the right, I would still say I don't see it, because he is the only president who has been impeached 3 times. He lost the House. He lost the Senate. He basically lost everything. He lost an election. He he lost whatever the self-coup thing that he was trying to do on January 6th. He is an old, desperate man, desperately clinging on to the Norman Rockwell painted idea of America the white and beautiful. It is just... He is... A certain far-right leader, I'm not going to say who, but once said, there's no stopping an idea that, an idea which time has come, or something like that. And there's no saving an idea that, an idea that's time has passed. And the idea of America as a meritocracy, that time has passed. The American dream was gone well before Reagan. I think the American dream died well before Reagan did, and Reagan died back in like 2005, I think. The American dream turned into the American nightmare, at least in my opinion, around 1981 when Reagan got into office. That was the death nail in the American dream's coffin, and we've been slowly living with that for a while. By 2060, shit, I hope I'm not around to see it. It'll be dystopian. It'll be horrible, I think. And that's not including climate change. Oh yeah, America's not ready for climate change. We're done for in that regard. For me, I have my stockade of food and water, and that's it. I'm basically a prepper at this point. It's basically what I am. I'm basically a prepper who's trying to survive. That's another thing too, is like ever since like I was 21 and now I'm like 27, so this has been going on for a few years now. Ever since like I was like 21, I've basically been in survival mode. I don't think about employment or anything like that. I think about, whether or not I'm gonna, get my next meal. So when you're in constant survival mode, getting a job and holding a job is just 1,000 times more harder, and thus that kind of goes back into the cycle of, I don't work because there's no point, blah blah blah. Anyway, my throat's getting dry, so I might as well go have a drink and chill out. Thank you guys, and peace and love to all you people out there, blah blah blah. Long live Nestor Makhno. Peace.